Hey, what's up, everybody? This is TCOY, also known as Richard. Coming back to you with another game of the Ottomans versus Juicy Legacy. Just a tip, we are going to look at some strategies from the Juicy Legacy perspective. And interestingly enough, there's a lot to be said about this game. Because he's going to do a lot of crazy stuff. And I think that's kind of what I want to get to, moving forward. With regards to factions and different playstyles, you can see here as the Ottomans, I'm going for stone into a straggler tree, and then into the standard sheep gold, and getting that free military and using that as a boost. But you never know what the kind of mindset is with people like this walking so far and doing different things. And I guess that's what the goal is for the next few videos, is focusing on gameplay, but focusing from a perspective of small little things you can practice on a day-to-day, like this mill could have sit right here, the sheep could have been killed right there immediately, how to macro your villages properly, and just breaking down different build orders. If you guys are cooking up a build order specifically that you personally like, or a faction that you feel like, listen, TCOY, this faction, this build order I have cooking, it's really, really good. Put a comment down below, put your name down below, and we'll just, I'll go check it out. I'm planning on making a lot more videos on other people and their games, and in terms of building orders and what they especially like. Interestingly enough, like with the Holy Roman Empire, I saw that they actually got a nerf now where they have 0 gold at the start, where most factions, as you can see here, 120, 130. So Holy Roman Empire took a nerf to their gold. So if you go early aggression to the Holy Roman Empire, they have 0 gold. They can't age up. So you force them into feudal age. And that's very, very interesting how those type of things actually change gameplay. But let's focus on this game and see where we're standing with the Ottomans. So what we're trying to do from our perspective is, you have military schools, which gives you free units, and they produce 20, 30, 40 and 60% quicker when they are in the influence of a blacksmith. So the way this works out is, you pick up the first six villages of stone. That gives you your first military school, and very, very soon here at 2 minutes 40, you'll have your first spearman out. Now for most factions, that is way too late to get to feudal age aggression. You actually have to go sooner than that, but you can get this down pretty quickly. If I didn't have to walk this far, you could probably get the spearman out like at 2:30, which is not bad. But you can see he's going for meditation garden here. He's going to get the stone, he's going to get the berries, the gold, and a little bit of straggler trees. So not a bad meditation garden. Now how this works is, if there's enemies nearby, they will disrupt this. And that's kind of why I feel like Ottomans would create like a semi of a counter system towards the Juicy Legacy, because when this is up, your spearman is going to come around. And I'm not thinking what Keckles over here is the best at microing and everything, but he has some degree of what needs to be done, and that's pretty cool when you look at new players and where they go. You can see he's splitting up his sheep, making sure that the villagers are not all standing around on a single sheep, which is quite efficient. He's supervising it, so every single sheep gets that extra 20%, and the inspiration or the supervision of this gives him the free food. And now he's chopping the straggler trees, which is 100% normal, and went for a village, which means he doesn't have to focus too much on any other wood rather than just what he's busy with right now. Now, disrupting people from their thought process, like you can see what's happening right here. You pulled all the villagers just to come and chase down the spearman, because obviously that's gonna be able to kill the spearman, but all this is idle time. So that's really not the right thing to do. I remember seeing this when I glanced over the video in the past, just to understand what the guy did. I want to show you guys something quite interesting, specifically with this chop, with the gold he's gathering here, right? So it's like, okay, well, I'm already here, I'm going to gather the gold, and then I'll make a decision. But you took him off the thought process of what's happening here. Now he's running back, trying to chase the spearman. We're going to have another one coming out already, so he's going to be in a bit of trouble. So he builds the lumber camp. So if you build a lumber camp and they have gold on them, look at this. They did not drop the gold off, immediately goes for the stone, right? So what that does is that is 80 gold that was gathered here that is lost. So all the bonus from the supervision, everything is lost, because instead of just building the mining camp and letting them drop off, the villagers went idle. So you shift click the mining camp, which means they will first drop off and then go to the mining camp, so you won't have any loss of resources. When you can do it with wood or anything. You can use all the wood villagers, build a mill. They'll actually drop the wood off once at the mill and then start gathering food. Which is something, a lot of people miss early on in the game. So I'm going to speed up. Is it normal? Yeah, is it at 1 speed? No, that's half. There's normal. Okay. So from our side, we're cooking up. We have a mill here because we ran out of sheep. You can see I'm only coming back with 4 sheep. So no good start in terms of food here. Something I've seen with the new maps that I'm actually enjoying is taking the deer and pushing them in. But with the Ottomans, you can see I'm also not doing anything special. I have idle time on my villagers. Even when I started, I built my twin minaret madrasa, and these villagers ran to this berry bush first because it takes like a second or two for the first berry bush to spawn. So that was quite annoying. So small little things. Idle scout over here. If it helps anyone, usually how I sort out my production is F1 is military buildings, right? Scout I'll put on 1 for most of the game, town center on 2. If I want to, let's say all my villagers, you see there they go. These villagers are on the berry bush right now. That's not what I want. We have 2 spearmen now. All of this is just being produced from the military school. I should have already gone and gathered stone and wood and put down more, which I haven't. So not a great game from that perspective. But what I'm trying to get at is when you are disrupting a player's thought pattern, or you have to micro more, he has to adjust. That's kind of where you make really nice changes or adjustments to the game, because you're forcing him to play a game you want instead of the game he wants. You can see as the imperial officials now going for a second town center. We only have 2 villagers on gold, so we haven't touched any other gold. Still getting those spearmen out and focusing now on getting some wood. We have the stone, which will give us the extra military school, which is 150 wood and 100 stone. So what a lot of people do is they'll take like 5 villagers, gather 200 stone, bring them off of stone and go on to like your gold, wood and food. And then transition with 3 military schools and a blacksmith, and then pump out military schools. Now you can only have 1 military school per age, and then you have your I think you can see it in this mode. You actually have your vizier point. So I went for the Anatolian hills. You can see now we're still busy torching down this landmark, and he's ignoring it right now. 3 imperial officials moving around, so supervising the mill, the mining camp and the lumber camp, so getting that extra 20%, which is great. But we're just applying some pressure here and keep sending the spearmen forward. You can see now the military schools going out. But the vizier points, personally, I like going for the Anatolian hills over into the military campus, which gives you the extra military school. And then your third one, if you get your timing right, if you're getting rushed in castle, you usually get your janissaries as soon as the enemy kind of arrives. And you'll see now with the blacksmith, when this blacksmith is in, we also have a little fishing economy going. I'll say something about that right now. So the blacksmith has an influence radius, and you want to not build that away from the base, because then it can be burned down and sieged down, because these are not defensive towers or anything. They just produce units. But he's on 3 TCs. Okay, interesting. So, oh, sorry, 4 town centers. Okay, so this guy's booming harder than the 4th of July. There's a lot of villagers having to come out of this. But one thing you have to know when you do this, we're just gonna poke at these villagers again. So, from a resources perspective, he is sitting on. Let's just check the income per minute. 520 now. It's 50 food per villager, and you can do 3 villagers per town center in a minute. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 food per minute you need just to maintain your villagers. That's excluding any military production. So that would be, a minimum of 15, 16, 17 villagers that you need on food to maintain that. But we'll pop back into the cinematic mode. It's a little bit easier to show what's going on. No idea. There was a Ozzy Drongo costed a video where he actually showed one of Fitzborough or someone with 4 town centers, which was quite interesting. You can see more spearmen coming out now. And as soon as you can, especially as soon as you reach feudal age, you should transition from spearmen into Sipahi. That's a mistake I made. I haven't played Ottomans in a while, so what we did is we saw the extra town center. You can see we have our scout here, and all we're trying to do is just apply some pressure, just keep making him fear the opportunity of losing this landmark or applying some pressure. But four town centers, you can already see a 20 villager lead here. The resources that he's going to get from this is insane, and you can see he's not microing the best, long distance mining the food, no extra mill, still supervising that same mill over here, which is inefficient. Same lumber camp when he's transitioning to a new lumber camp. So move your imperial officials with, and he has now the docks coming out. He probably scouted out the water, saw my fishing economy. Now, one thing I also do is you can see this 1,000 food, but these deep sea fish regenerate. They gain food over time. So if you have all your boats on one fishing deep water fish, then you'll deplete it. But if you separate it like 3-3 like this, or if you get the upgrade 2-2, that will be the most efficient way to gather your food without having them depleting this and trying to go for a further place like this. So we're starting to build up an economy here. Supplies going out, spearmen picking off some villagers, and now we're getting raided by these dukes. They're gonna straight through these fishing boats like nothing, especially because there's 3 of them. They're gonna do so much damage. I didn't even try and defend water here. It was an economy that I thought, okay, cool, if I have it, I have it. But from a investment point of view, that is 150 and 90, so 250 each. So that's 1,500 resources invested here, and we just went imperial or castle age, and you can see I decided not to go with a military school right here, because the influence range is quite big. So as long as you touch the influence range, you're sorted, right? I can even get away with putting a barracks or something down here, which would also fall under the same influence, which means these buildings will produce units quicker, almost at the same speed that the English does. But as soon as you get the 60% upgrade, with the imperial age, then you would produce men-at-arms a lot quicker than anybody else can. Your knights, everything else comes out quicker as well. So we got a second town center running right now. Going for the mosque over here, and if you look at this, 4 town centers with the military schools over here, blacksmith, just a range armor upgrade. We have mangonels being produced, but this type of economy would really dent. And I mean, he's using villagers to kill Sipahi. That's how many villagers he has. He just does not care. Taking on these villagers, these Sipahis with villagers, and losing a villager here and there, it's nothing to frown upon, especially when you have 4 town centers. So his economy is through the roof right now, This on berries is inefficient. I would rather put it on shellfish, or the thing with the juicy, they get a much big rebate on their farms, especially when they go Song Dynasty. So we actually lost some of our units, especially I felt so bad about that. I actually lost my Mether, which gives your unit a buff because of these little jukes. They did so much damage over here, but we just have our Sipais that was for free, which still keeps doing damage, still makes my game a lot easier because we're applying pressure, we have our mosque out, we are trying to get some relics, and nothing fancy, 50, 68 villagers. And the difference right now is these Sipais, even though they're only getting 1 or 2 kills, they are getting consistent kills, and it's free units on my side, so I'm not losing anything. Now he's sitting on 4, 5, 6, 7 archery ranges, and these amount of Chikanus are extremely dangerous, especially at this amount of numbers. But he's also sitting in feudal age, and he mismicroed his food and gold. And also going into, gold of wood over here when there's a lot of other safe wood lines around. I guess he chose that one because it's a lot bigger, so it's a lot easier to micro. But this army is not going to do much more. He could probably keep picking off on the Imperial Academy here, but we have a army pushing in from this side and an army pushing in from this side. And just look at just going to have a quick pause. In any normal game, would you say that this is probably a lost game, right? You have a big mass of Chikunu, 18 Chikunu here against armored units with +1 ranged armor, but that's not going to survive against Chikunu mash, right? And then there's a giant Chikunu army over here, and he's sitting on a higher villager count, and he's sitting on 68 military against 13, so it's a big difference, right? But because we are castle age, and the timing of things is also very important. We have idle villagers, there's villagers being transitioned from this way to that way. I need to do a farm transition, a lot of things that I can do better as well, right? We get our vizier point, and I think at this point my vizier point went for my Janissaries. Are they Janissaries? Yep. So now we have quite a nice army over here, which is nothing to frown upon. The Janissaries, Men-at-Arms, Sipahi and Mangonel, which is amazing. And if you look back here, these Men-at-Arms has done so much damage. Look at the knight, how many shots it can actually take from these these crossbow Jukanus. So it's like 7, 8, 9 volleys, and my men-at-arms and stuff has just gone to town. I actually surpassed him by 10 villagers now, and he has 4 town centers, and he's trying to do a farm transition, but he still has the economy behind it because of the Chikunu, right? So that's very important to get onto the map and play into your faction's advantages. So if you go to your tech trees, you can actually read up here on the side on what your faction's advantages are, and look at little details here that might help you, notice things that you might not have in the past. But from the Ottomans' perspective, we're sitting now on the 4 military schools, all within the influence, plus the mangonels, which produce in 2 minutes. We have a really big economy going right now, and the thing with the Ottomans is the economy is huge because of the free units. So we're getting all these Sipais for free, and we are training, getting the upgrades for the Sipais right now, and still nothing even being trained out of the barracks, but we are at castle imperial age resources. So what often happens is, you can see here I actually was pushing, and as I push, my scholar actually by accident ran into this mess, and I actually had to turn my army back, and this is kind of where things can take a big turn. But if this guy was producing villagers the whole time, he would comfortably sit on 100+ villagers, which he wasn't, and that's kind of something you have to. He wasn't even using a fishing economy, so there's a lot to be said. And then gets a lot of value out of this. Now, damage wise, 50 Chikunu, each firing an arrow of 5, so that's 500 damage that they can get out with the single volley of Chikunu. So you know, if you have a knight over here, this knight is going to mitigate 6 ranged armor, so they will still do 50 damage because there's 50 of them. I wonder who they're going to focus first, but we have the Sipahi now, which is a perfect counter because they have the range armor as well. You can see they're not taking too much damage. They took about 50 there, another 50 or 100, but we have men-at-arms, Sipahi, and ignoring the Rams right now, that's not the focus here. We're still going to get our free units, men-at-arms in queue, and you can see he's kiting away now, but we're just trying to get the mangonels on top of this, because you'll look at these numbers and say, okay, that's all dangerous, but 2 mangonel shots and that whole armor is gone. So he just lost the whole military, and now suddenly we're on par. He's sitting on a farming transition and the same amount of villagers with 4 town centers, and I just went Imperial Age. Now the Istanbul Observatory is amazing because you get the university upgrades that you can do from here, so you don't have to build one, and you get another influence radius, and it also applies to the blacksmith, which means that your blacksmith increases from 60 to 100%. So now you can see the same men-at-arms are at 11 seconds. So you can pump out units so quickly if you have a stable economy behind this, more than you could ever imagine. But if I didn't see that army over here, you know, it would have been a whole different game. And because of that little push we did over here, you know, it made a big difference because of the villager losses he has. So now we have the free units, we have the influence, and we have the army that's going to build up, and that's pretty much you know, GG from our side because of the big upgrades that we're getting. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Let me know what you think, and let me know what faction you have cooking, and let me know your game tag in the comments below, and make sure your thing is actually visible. You can see your share history. Make sure that's visible. It doesn't make a big difference if you're playing ranked and they can see. Most people don't check it anyway. Just make sure it's visible, and then I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.